Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know my co-host, Wade. Wade, how you doing, man?
Absolutely fabulous. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good. Tonight,
Okay.
Jason couldn't be on. He had some stuff come up, but of course, Paul, he's always here. How you doing, Paul?
I'm okay, man. Looking for this warm weather we're getting here in the Midwest.
Man, I am telling you. So tonight, I'm excited about tonight. I don't know about y'all, but to let everybody know, I do have a video that I'm going to be playing. It's about 13 minutes long. You will not be disappointed. My family likes to have a lot of fun, and apparently too much fun on my arrival. So there's really hilarious parts in there, and then emotional parts, but it's really great. So tonight is all about our homecoming. One of the reasons I think that we should do this tonight is because we need to think about the men and the women over there, you know, uh, fighting Iran. And then when they come back home, they need to be treated exactly how we were. We had an awesome, response from the public. And as much as everybody is divided today, I think this is very important. So I first want to start off with Paul. Paul, let's talk about when you first got back. What was your experience like?
I was stationed in Michigan, so when we first got back, we went from 105 degrees in the desert, 14-hour flight home, and home was a foot and a half of snow. So was quite a bit of culture shock. You step on the plane and you're sweating, and you step off the plane and you're freezing. I'm jealous. I wish I had pictures. We had a really nice homecoming. It was a big airplane hangar, as everybody can imagine what an airplane hangar is. Huge banner that said "Welcome Home." We go inside and there's music playing, and there's all these bleachers and family members there. And somehow, some way, I'd never seen anything like this before. But there was a Burger King truck. I guess like a Winnebago or RV, whatever you want, but it was a Burger King. And so you just walk right up to the window and get a Burger King hamburger and onion rings or French fries, whatever you wanted. And then, like, I don't know, 25 or 30 feet over, there was a Domino's pizza truck. So, Burger King and Domino's Pizza had two big food trucks inside there, and there was music playing. And as I've thought about this last couple of weeks, I was like, it was overwhelming. It was unreal. I didn't understand it.
Yep.
I
Oh yeah.
appreciate it. Please understand that. It's not like I don't understand it. I'm angry. It's like we did what we were supposed to do. We did what we were called to do. We did what we wanted to do. I said to somebody one time, like, how did you go do that? I said, you know what? Imagine practicing a piece of music, or imagine practicing a football game. You go to practice every day to practice football or basketball or you piece of music, whatever it is you practice. And for 18 months, you're like, are we ever going to play the game? Are we ever going to play the game? Are we ever going to play the game? Are we ever going to have a concert? Am I ever going to be able to get to play the piano in a concert? Or am I just going to practice for the rest of my life? We got to go see if we could do what we practiced to do. That may sound odd to some, but that's how it felt like to me. We came home and my boss was there, and he didn't go with us for whatever reason, my NCOIC. And he's like, man, are you okay? And I said, yeah. He goes, you look a bit dazed. I'm like, this is not how we left. And we get all my stuff, get back to my room, and I couldn't get to sleep till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because the time zone changed. I had to be back on the job at 8 a.m. I worked at intelligence, so I had an 8-hour debriefing I had to sit through the next day and talk all about what we did and what I did and how things worked. And there was a congressional investigation into some things. Some people may or may not know that, but so I had to go on record and what did we do and what did my unit do and all this and all that. There was some investigatory things going on. And after 2 days of that, they're like, okay, you can take 2 weeks leave. Jumped in my car and I drove home. I drove from Michigan, stopped in St. Louis for the night, and then drove St. Louis down to Wichita, Kansas at the time. And it was a surreal feeling being back in the States. I could drive. Everything was in English. All the smells were different. Music on the radio is music I never heard because I was out of the country. Things going on in the news I had no idea about because I was out of the country. People were talking about movies I'd never heard of because I was out of the country. At the end of the day, it was pretty amazing. One last quick story. I was wearing my desert camouflage BDU hat, and I stopped just outside of Kansas City going west, and there's a toll booth there. I stop, I pick up my ticket, go through the toll booth, drive about 2 hours down the road, and I go to pay the toll. The guy looks at me, and the front of all the toll booths had American flags, yellow ribbons. Everybody working these toll booths, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. There's like 6 or 8 toll booths wide. Everybody working at toll booth was wearing a hat or had a flag shirt on or something. And I got nervous. I like freaking like, what is this? Drive up to the toll booth, and the guy says, "Hey, were you over in Desert Storm?" I said, "Yes, I was. I just got home 2 days ago." He goes, "My son's still over there. This one's on me." And he took my ticket and says, "Go on. Thanks for coming home."
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And I did everything I could to stop from crying and not wreck my car. I couldn't, it didn't process for me. It was unbelievable. I had a little bit of guilt because I felt like the country was honoring us in the way that they should honor the Vietnam veterans.
I agree 100%.
And we can't compare. I never will. And if anybody tries to do that, I will fight tooth and nail as to why things were different.
Yeah.
But it was weird, man. It was really, really weird. Getting back to my hometown, I'd go get a cup of coffee or something, and small little town in rural Kansas, people knew me, and hey, man, let me get your coffee for you. It's the least I can do. It was weird.
Oh, yeah. See, that's so cool, man. And that's where we need to be today, because everybody is so completely divided, and we're forgetting that these guys are over there. You know, they got sent over there. This stuff happened. It was going on over there. When they come home, they need the hero's welcome also.
I agree. And it's so tough. I'll never forget. My mom sent me a newspaper article from the local newspaper, and this was this article about all the people from our county over there. And I'm reading it, and I flip it over and I put it down. On the back of it is a peace protest from a local college where all these kids are doing a peace protest against the war. And I sat there and I looked at this. On one side of the piece of paper was how amazing all these men and women are that are serving our country. You flip it over, and here's all these men and women protesting the war. And I've never forgotten that. And I thought to myself, that is the best piece of newspaper I've ever read. Because without one side, you don't have the other.
Amen. I like that.
We are there doing what we're doing so they can do what they want to do.
That's
Today it's not me protesting. It might be me protesting tomorrow, something else. But the duality of that piece of paper, I've never forgotten that.
And now we're going to get to me. And before we get to me, I just want y'all to know there wasn't anybody in my area that didn't have a yellow ribbon. Our capital had a yellow ribbon. It was just gorgeous. And now that this tape I'm going to play was my homecoming that my older brother filmed, and he's in it mostly. It's really funny. I enjoyed it. I saw it for the first time last night. I was laughing. I was crying. It was really cool. And so, you know, be respectful. This is my family, and I'm so proud of them for what they have supported me in. And I think everybody should have a family like I do. That's just how I get. And so I want to first go over here. I'm going to line us up, and here we go.
We're here to welcome Kevin home. We haven't seen him in 17 months. We're so excited.
I'm not even recording.
Oh, good. I did that interview film.
What do you think about the return of
We're
Kevin?
happy.
All right, and you?
That was great.
No comment? What do you think about the return of Kevin? Kevin? Push up button. Casey Bowles one. It's going down. All right, now that we're all together. All right. Y'all embarrassing me. What do you think about the return home of who?
K-E-V-I.
Push me all the way out.
Get out, play. Get out, play.
Huh.
Wasting the tape. Come over here. Come over here. Yes.
And what do you think about the return home of Kevin? I'm really excited. What would you like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say to him in person?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me think of something.
Okay.
What did you say to him?
What would you like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say to him in person?
Not that I couldn't say to him. I don't know. I hope his haircut's cute. No, I don't know. Love the tattoo, Kevin. Yeah. The tattoo.
Ma'am, is there anything that you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person?
No.
Ma'am, is there anything that you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person?
God, stay boy.
Good answer. Sir, is there anything you'd like to say? Yes. Don't embarrass me. Now, would I do something like that? Yes. I would never embarrass you. You have a booger in your nose. Ma'am. No. Is there anything you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person? No. Boy, now he's going to watch this tape.
Oh, right.
He'll be really hurt. Nobody can say.
Well, hi, Kevin. I can say that to him. Hi,
Is that Kevin? Is there anything you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person? We're glad to have you home. How about you, ma'am? I thought.
Get everybody.
Is there anything you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person?
No. I want to tell him everything.
Ma'am. I thought that was pretty darn original.
Yes, get out of my face.
You
Yeah, there you
have something to say to
If you don't
Kevin.
leave me alone, I'm going to come to the barbershop every day and bother you until you get this camera out of my face.
Watch this
So?
now. You got to say something to him.
Really? What do you want me to say?
Ma'am, is there anything you have to say to Kevin? Please. Something to say.
Hi. Hi.
Wait, that sounds so blurry. There we go.
It's supposed to be like that. You have a better time. Look. Yeah. Your dad's holding it. Look at that. It's like blue. Everybody was red like blue. Oh, hi, someone you know.
Here, go ahead. Ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Is there anything you have to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person?
Hi, Kevin. Jimmy. Give me when I'm not looking.
Okay. Hit it. You're on JBWLT Houston. I'd just like to say, Kevin, welcome home. Welcome home, Kevin. How you doing? Good to have you home.
Okay, no, you go over this lady. All you have to do is 2, 3, 4. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. Hold it up, Jim. Wait. 1.
Are you recording? Is there my note? Well, I'm thinking we're not going to have a whole lot of time when Kevin comes in, so we're going to have the batteries running down. You push the cord twice? Got to hit the tower. Is there anything you'd like to say to Kevin that you couldn't say in person? Good service, Guam. Ain't that right?
Just get her, don't get me, okay?
I won't get
Look at
you.
Jimmy. I want to talk to her. I'm so excited to see Kevin. My Uncle Kevin. What's that thing you got there?
Will you quit touching it? Will you
I want to touch it. I want to touch it.
just leave it alone?
See that look on her face? Jimmy.
Well, Kevin, you're almost home, and everybody's getting real excited, but frankly, I'm thrilled to death. I'm just glad you're coming home. Nobody seemed to have really nice things to say on the camera, so I'm going to say them all for them. Everybody really just excited that you're here. Okay? Now, they're asking me why I'm talking to the camera. Well, they're foolish. I'm just letting you know I'm thrilled to death. I'm sure you can see it on my face. Well, Stevie, are you excited about this? Yes. Me too. I'm just thrilled to death. Yeah, buddy. I'm just having a ball. A lot of fun. Yep. Gonna have a lot of fun this weekend, though. Yeah, that's right. Party. Huh? You know?
You know, we talked about stop would be easier.
Hey, no, really. Y'all keep on going. It looks...
In motion shot.
Yeah, that's right. This is a motion shot. Now, y'all wait on mine. Disappointing, wasn't it? We didn't get to see the plane land. Very
We
disappointing.
couldn't find the tail.
Oh,
No tail.
no
What can we
tail.
say?
What do you think about this, man?
Following everybody.
Okay.
I think it's bull.
And you? 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 Here it is. Give it to me. Give it to me. Hey, let's act special. Look at the camera. 972 AKZ. Now, welcome to the radio station. We're about to start the dance contest. Over here to the left, we have the seating arrangement. Over here to the right, we do have all the judges. Okay, start your dancing. Come on, get it going, come on. Hit the red button by your thumb over here. What are you filming this one, Ty? I don't know why you're filming me. See that animal? In. Oh my gosh, he's in. Who? Yoko Lennon. Oh, Yoko Lennon. Yoko Lennon. What is everybody going to say when Kevin comes home? Well, y'all are exciting fans. Get it going again. What? He's been over in the Gulf. Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico. Come on, Kevin, the film is running out. God, he is so sweet, isn't he? We're live with the, yes. I think he's gotten taller. Dark as shit. I know it. Dark. Who is that?
Shara.
Mama, come home. You took that bottle home. Let's go home. Y'all look confused.
Follow me.
How's it feel to be home? Feels pretty good. Will you please take that out of my face? Come on.
Pretty good.
That's the whole idea. How you doing? Oh, it's Kenny Cameron. Oh, come on, guys.
Come on. Hey, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, David. I don't mind Kenny. He is,
He's got a better tan than you do. Go in.
Don't move, Kevin. Come on, Steve. I gotta get focused.
That was my homecoming. And when they were like, "Hey, I'll see you tomorrow," we had a great big party. There were probably 100 people there, 50 to 100 people. And my cousin and her mom came in. And then we went to Louisiana next weekend and I got to eat gumbo. I really miss gumbo. But what was really cool is I was on a 22-hour flight. When I got off the airplane, I was still a little buzzed from the night before when we left. God, they had to help me on the airplane. I was, going home, and but it was really cool. More and more people showed up at the airport. First, it was my family, and then my best friend's family. Mom and dad showed up, and so and yes, I agree. I did look young back then. It was weird watching that video. That's the first time I see my dad have hair. I don't ever remember my dad having hair. Sorry, Paul. No, but I mean, really, it was awesome. It was one of the best experiences a person could ever feel.
What was the deal with the tattoos?
Yeah.
So my sister decided to squill me out, okay, and she saw the tail of the panther with wings. She goes, "Oh, Kevin, what's that on your arm?" Even though they were talking about me having tattoos, I didn't tell anybody. And man, we got in that elevator. My mom's like, "You better not get any more tattoos." The next time I went to the Philippines, I got 2 more, and I called her, and she's like, "You're not going to get any more tattoos, are you?" I was like, no, no."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You got more tattoos?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am, but I'm done." And so, and this is exactly the way I think every soldier, sailor out there, airman, everybody should be treated when they come home with that kind of family support and friends. And so I did have to edit it and everything. So it was a lot longer. It was like 20 something minutes. But the guy who was filming in the beginning was my older brother. Then the other really young guy that took over the filming was my twin brother. And so, you know, and it seemed my older brother was the most excited, and then my mom, and then my twin and my sister-in-law, and nobody else had a comment. But he asked the wrong question. He was like, "Is there anything that you know, you would want to say to him that you wouldn't say in person?" Well, everybody knows me. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. And so, you know, but I tell you, I am blessed to have the family I got. I work with my dad. I work with my brother. I work with my sister-in-law. We are all very close. My mom, my twin, my older sister. She was one that had the baby. That was my niece. I got to see for the first time. I got a close family. And then my kids, my wife, I mean, you can't beat them. Nieces and nephews, we're a close knit family, and I love them to death. I wouldn't trade any of them for the world. None of them. Have a great family. And now we're going to Wade.
Oh,
Wade.
that's pretty tough to follow up on that one, brother.
Well, I mean, my older brother made it exciting.
That was. He did really good.
He did really good until he danced.
Just looking back to 1991 between the hairstyles and the clothing, and it's crazy. I mean, I miss the Aquanet hair, man.
We said that today because we watched it. My brother and them haven't seen it since then neither. And he was like, "Man, it was weird seeing the 80s hair." Even though it was beginning of the 90s, the girls had the 80s hair and the guys had the comb over.
Yep.
Paul, were you going to add something?
Nope.
I didn't mean to say that in the middle of a hair comment.
I don't have a comb over. I'm good.
And what's so funny is I swear I don't remember my dad having hair. I don't, because not even a couple years later, his head was, buzzed. So I was like, so weird. All right, Wade, I want to get you your first picture, man.
All righty. So I don't remember the date we left. We landed in Bangor, Maine. Have no idea. Never heard of the place. Give enough time to make a phone call and grab a couple quick beers before we had to board the plane back on. And this is Pope Air Force Base, and that was April 1st, 1991. Which Paul was saying, and Kevin, you land and you're completely overwhelmed. You have no record, no idea that this is what's waiting for you. I told my family not to come down. I didn't think, I honestly didn't think it was going to be a big deal. So I just said, I'd just drive home, kind of like Paul was saying. I'd drive home when we get released, whatever. But yeah, no family, no married. You kind of lost in the crowd by yourself. There was a lot of other single soldiers there too. So, but that was just I remember snapping that photo, but it was just very overwhelming to see that response. I mean, it wasn't just service members; the community came out as well.
Now, did strangers come up and hug you and stuff like that?
No, to be honest, I kind of stood back. We were all in formation. They released everybody to go see their family, and then we had to form back up. And I was just kind of back in formation. But while they were released, that's when I was able to take the picture.
Yeah, because when I forgot to bring this up. So whenever I was staying in to get my luggage off, this guy walks up to me, and he was like, "Were you over there in the Persian Gulf?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "How long were you there?" I was telling him. And he gave me a hug, and he was a Vietnam guy.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, they made what we did possible. The homecoming. Do you want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah. So, well, yeah, and I was going to say on that, what I find really ironic now, looking back on it, once we got back to our battalion area, turned in weapons and sensitive items, it was basically a safety brief and you're on your own. So from the time we landed to the time we're on our own was less than 3 hours, and I just now I look at it and I know they've changed it quite a bit. Debriefing, de-stress, demobilization. But when you got a bunch of single Joes that just got back, first thing they're going to do is that they're heading to the first bar strip joint that they can find. And we were no different. Me and my buddies loaded up on my car. Anybody that's been down to Fayetteville might have heard of this really nice establishment called Rick's. And that's where we went. And, drank a lot of beer, spent a lot of money. And so we came back. It was only a few days. And then we ended up, the battalion took a 2-week block leave. And so my fiance at the time had flown down and we drove back together. And this was just the front window of my mother's house. She, my biggest supporter, her and my family. But had everything decorated, like Paul was saying. Yellow ribbons were everywhere. So I pull up, and that's pretty much what I came home to. And I mean, if my mom's a huge supporter, and I can't even imagine going through everything what the parents went through, at that time. And
who's in the window?
That's her looking out. Someone took a picture of her.
Oh, that is so cool. And she's watching you pull up?
Yeah.
Oh man, and ain't not like hugging a mom once you get back, ain't it?
Yeah, I had a really, really good photo of that. I just couldn't find it for here. But yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah, it really was. And so you can go to the next photo. She had, they had a big support group locally, and they had a big party planned, and she had a very small house. Oh, can you back up one, Kevin? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I didn't see that. Where did that one come from?
Yeah, I just slipped in there. And I'm that handsome devil there on the right there. Yeah.
That's you?
Yeah.
Man, look how tan you were.
Well, yeah, my mom, my sister, and my brother, and the entire house was just nothing but red, white, and blue. It's just absolutely crazy. And all these people were coming over, and it was absolutely fabulous. Don't get me wrong, but it was overwhelming. Really no idea. All I wanted to do, honestly, was relax, drink beer, and just try to get your head straight. And but it was just so overwhelming. Everybody was there, and then she had a tiny little house, and I bet you there's 30, 40 people just packed in there.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. So, and if you see over there, right, just to my right, our left, or our right, my left on the picture, there's a couple bottles that are sitting back there on the table. And that was a bottle that she got. It's a bottle of wine, which I would, by this time, I still have that bottle today. I have no idea where she got it. Some kind of commemorative bottle of wine somewhere. But out of all the very few things that I have that I want my daughter to keep from me, it's that bottle of wine. But yeah, it was really good. It was 2 weeks home, and I think I actually even left early. I made excuses of why I had to get back. I mean, I was over and done with it. I just wanted to get back. And then it was about a year later when the local memorial started going up, and that was a lot better. I was able to come home, more relaxed environment. And that was a Class A event, and I went to the presentation, and that was very, very cool. And by that time, your head's kind of back in the game.
Yeah. Did you sleep the first night you got back?
No, I drank. I just drank.
Paul, I didn't drink, but I couldn't sleep the first night. And I mean, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I think it's because I was so wound up, with everything, and then my time zone was completely off, like 24 hours off,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you, you know. But I mean, when you look back and you think about it, back then I know they were a lot more relaxed, at the airport because they were able to walk right up to where I got out off the airplane. Up to a certain point, they did still have some security, but it was awesome walking out of there. And I want to know, Paul, did you? All of us came back really tan, right, in April, correct?
Yeah.
We're all nice and tan.
Oh yeah.
And I remember everybody being pale white and like y'all need to go to tanning booth, man. Y'all better go lay out in that sun. Send you over to Iraq for one day, you'll come back tan.
And it was a different type of sun, different type of tan. I don't know the listeners out there if you've ever been down to Ecuador or somewhere near the equator, maybe Australia, maybe in Asia. I don't know, but it was just a different type of suntan, sunburn. It was weird for me being from the Midwest and the States, and it was different. It was just different.
I didn't put on a suntan lotion. I never burned.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, rock lobster right here, buddy.
Oh man, yeah, I never burned. Well, then again, I lived on Guam for about a year before, about 6, 8 months before that, and then I lived in Texas. So I went to San Diego, so I got a lot of sun, before I went out there.
I was in Michigan where the snow was 3 feet deep. Jumped on a plane, flew to Saudi Arabia. I left. It was -5 outside. I get into Saudi, and it was like 95 degrees there, and we're stripping off our winter BDUs right there in the tarmac. Nobody cared. It's too daggone hot to worry about that business.
Wait, so y'all had to wear? I never wore my blues. Never. My winter.
Our camouflage uniforms. But
Yeah.
we had winter weights, and we had long johns on underneath the winter weights. We had our parkas. It was -5 degrees when we left. And you're flying in the back of one of those C-130, KC-135s. If you've never been in the back of a KC-135, it gets maybe 50 degrees. 12-hour flight at 50 degrees.
That's what I got a picture of. I flew over in a 141, and the same thing. You're in the back of that, and I have pictures, with my poncho liner, and we're all, just kind of bundled up, riding on troop seats. And yeah, it gets pretty damn cold.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I bet it does, man. I wouldn't know I was on a ship. Where I mean, we hardly ever hit the cold. I do remember us hitting some pretty cold weather being in the Navy, but it wasn't much. Because every place we spent was in Asia, and all that whole area was nice and warm. And then, so who? Oh, I was talking to Wade the other day. On our way back, before we got to Guam, our commanding officer really want everybody at that time to become a shellback. And if y'all don't know what a shellback is in the Navy, y'all need to go check it out. Y'all just go watch a video of it, but make sure you pull up, the King Neptune, all that stuff, a polywog back in the early 90s, like 90, all the way, to Vietnam. Don't look at it now because it's totally different. And that was a big tradition for the Navy. And the captain's like, look, before we get back, I want everybody to become a shellback. I tell you what, I remember they beat you with a fire hose, 18-inch. They cut fire hoses, 18-inch, and they just beat you. I mean, I'll have to one day do a whole episode with a bunch of guys and put the pictures up, and we will explain it step by step. And by the end of it, y'all be going, "Hey, no way I would do anything like that. No freaking way." But what was cool is when we got back, we were able to have our showback cards. So we were able to come home. And then when we got home, we got to tell, other sailors who have been in, like from Vietnam, like, "Are you a showback?" Yes. It's a lot better than saying, "No, I'm still a pollywog," and that's somebody who hasn't, been to equator. But the homecoming was good. It reminded me a lot, of the time and family, how important it is even today and everything. Have a good, strong foundation and a family. And
Well,
so,
and even those that had, little to no family, I mean, coming home, they had each other too. You had your brothers, your sisters, and they kind of
yeah,
all gravitate to each other, you know, and, it's just a feeling of accomplishment, you know, and, it's kind of like what Paul said, you practice forever and you kind of want to know if you're that good or not. And when you come home and you're the victor, you feel pretty damn good. You can hold your chest high.
yeah, I do remember a lot of us being nervous when it was over. Like, "Hey, what is the reception like?"
Right.
And this is where I think each and every one of us should give Vietnam Veterans of America and the VFWs and all them a lot of credit. The Vietnam guys were good, made sure we did not come home to what they came home to, and I commend them for it. And that is where this should all take each and every one of us. Is we should never take our troops for granted. They're here to protect us. And that's why I wanted to honor today about that. I think it was important.
Yep. And I just had a long discussion with a friend the other night about this. That in the current situation, you may or may not agree with what's going on. That's neither here nor there. But you damn near better stand behind the troops. And if you don't want to stand behind them, you can stand in front of them. As far as I'm concerned.
Yep. That's like that Paul said. Paul, say that one more time about the newspaper.
You had a newspaper, and it was a duality. Okay, it was thanking all the troops and honoring all the men and women from the town and the community I was in. And exactly on the other side was a peace protest at a local college, and that summed everything up for me. If you want to be able to protest, that's great, but remember the reason why you're able to protest. It's not the politics. We can agree or disagree with what we did or what's going on right now. Right? The military is the last line of diplomacy. It's never the first. Never. And it's the ugly side of diplomacy. And, we were the largest all volunteer fighting force ever assembled in the history of the world. We went up against an enemy that had us outnumbered 1.8 to 1, not quite 2 to 1. We didn't know how well our tanks were going to perform, or the Tomahawk cruise missiles, which Colin Powell hated. The cruise missiles, hated them because they had failed for a decade. He called it a multi-billion-dollar waste. The Patriot missile system, shooting a bullet with a bullet. How insane is that idea? Right? That's what that is. It's shooting a bullet with a bullet.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can debate the original success rates of those versus what was found out in after action reports, all that. I'm not going to debate that this was great, that wasn't. What I'm saying is we were able to destroy an enemy that had state-of-the-art Soviet equipment, Soviet advisors still advising their army at the time of the combat. And, read about the greatest tank battle in the history of the world occurred during the Gulf War. It's unbelievable the advantage we had to an army that had us outnumbered. to an army that just got done winning an 8-year war against Iran. We were scared. Baghdad was the second most heavily defended city in the world. This was not a cakewalk by any means. My unit was expected to lose half our people that night. First night of the war, half your planes aren't coming home. First night of the war, the expected loss was 50%.
I did not know that.
It was a tough deal, man. Tough deal. I'm not trying to compare. Please understand. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to lay out the facts as they were. Yeah, we had night vision goggles, but were they really night vision goggles, or were they just one generation better from what they had in Vietnam, which was called Starlight? There was during Desert Shield, late December, early January, the F-111s. An F-111 is a plane where pilot and co-pilot sit side by side, and they're swept wing, and they fly, I think, at Mach 3. They were using terrain following radar. Lex, you're right. Battle of 73 Easting. You want to read about an unbelievable tank battle? Battle of 73 Easting. Gives me chills just talking about it. The F-111, first used in Vietnam, first used laser-guided bombs in Vietnam, was flying so fast using terrain following radar that it flew right into a sand dune and killed both pilots. Because the radar was so powerful, it projected itself through the sand because the sand was so porous.
Wow.
Right? Exactly. There's no sand like that anywhere else in the world. You can't practice that in California. You can't practice that in Arizona. You can't practice that anywhere else but in the Arabian Peninsula because the sand is different.
And it moves. It moves. So yeah, it's not solidified. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Wade, have my back here, but you're in an armored vehicle, you're in a tracked vehicle, forget about it. The sand has such a porousness to it, a lack of density, that the sand itself is mobile and it becomes an enemy. And anyways.
And sand kills everything. It gets literally in every nook and cranny of any mechanical anything, all the way down to your weapon. So I mean, yeah, and what one thing that I have discussions with other individuals about too is we as veterans, we didn't have an opportunity to pick our war, our generation, or what we did, nor did the troops of yesterday or the troops of today. They are going with wherever that commander in chief, no matter who it is, Republican or Democrat, where they send them. We all signed the same paper, whether it was World War II or currently, we all signed the same contract. And it doesn't matter, but you're going to go where the commander in chief sends you, and you're going to do your job and do it proudly and whatever that job is. And if it's to go kill a whole bunch of people, so be it.
Wow, Wade, that's a good point. Now, with that being said, we are coming to the end of the program, but I do want to let y'all know that I have been working a lot of hours on a storefront for our podcast, and I have made a lot of apparel, cups. I mean, a lot of stuff, and some of it is really great. Some of it is really great, and well, it is, man. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and I will keep adding more, but I am going to put in the chats. After the show is over, I am going to put the link, and I'm also gonna put a link in and show a little bit in the in Monday show or before Monday that what's going to be coming up next. But I mean, I want to thank both y'all for coming on. I really appreciate y'all being here. I want to thank all the families, friends that supported us and who are supporting the troops today. And if y'all need to get a hold of me, y'all please get a hold of me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com. Y'all can get a hold of me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com. Guys, is there anything else that y'all would like to add?
I just want to say hey to Dennis and Lex for, thanks guys for showing up. It's great seeing you again every week. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate each and every person that supports the show. Share this out. I will also put the full video of my family homecoming if anybody wants to watch it and have a kind of reminder. And if anybody else would like to, please let me know. I would love to put that up on our page of their homecomings. And so I'm going to wish everybody good night. Y'all check out our after show on Facebook or Patreon. We're going to be hitting into that, right now. And so everybody, y'all have a great night. I appreciate you.